Have you ever been told that you're too emotional or too weak? Have you ever wondered who you are or felt like you were held back from who you could be? We'll discuss these things in this video, as well as 3 life lessons that we can learn from the movie Captain Marvel. There are spoilers ahead, so if you have not yet seen the movie and don't want any spoilers, then I suggest you hit the save button so you can watch this later after you see the movie, which you should go watch the movie right now. But if you're ready now, then let's get real about Captain Marvel.
I admit I don't see the world the same as the every individual. It's just my luck, I've gotta rub you all the wrong way. And I apologize in time to say for just being a little critical. I'm living a life just as you are doing the same.
I'd first like to give a shout out to my friends Sarah and Alex, who so kindly took the time to discuss the movie with me and share their thoughts to help me in creating this content, so check out their links down below. From the very beginning and throughout this movie, we see Carol constantly being told that she's too weak, too emotional, and that she needs to let go of her emotions if she's ever going to become her best self. First, in the training scene with Jan Rog, he tells her she must control her emotions and her power. He even says her humor is a distraction and anger serves the enemy. Now, if you listen to all the things that he says in this scene, there's a lot of truth to the things he says, so I can completely understand why she could believe this. You know, like, for example, yes, we do need to learn how to control our emotions, but there seems to be this implication here that he doesn't just want her to control her emotions, but to get rid of them completely. And he makes it seem that any emotion is weakness. Secondly, we see this in Carol's talk with the Supreme Intelligence, who tells her, you struggle with your emotions, with your past that fuels them. Again, there could be truth to this, like, okay, Supreme Intelligence, we shouldn't be held back by our past, we shouldn't be defined by our past, but Supreme Intelligence seems to not want her to understand her past so she can resolve her issues and move on. No. The Supreme Intelligence seems to want her to avoid her past completely. Like, we just don't go there. Nope, your past, just forget it. Nope, we don't go there. Nope. Which should be bringing up some major red flags. Why does she not want her to look into her past? Seems questionable to me. Because if she really had her best interest in mind, she wouldn't be telling her to suppress her feelings and emotions and avoid the past, because the healthy thing to do is to deal with it and move on. Third, we see this during her flashbacks of memories from growing up and during her training, constantly being told she's not strong enough or that she can't do it. Fourth, in the second scene with the Supreme Intelligence, who tells her that she's only human, but Carol responds, "You're right, I'm only human." And the scene when she stands up and you see all the flashbacks of all the other times in her life that, despite people telling her she couldn't do it, she didn't give up, she persevered, and she kept getting up. And then there's this epic quote that Carol says of, "I've been fighting with one hand tied behind my back, but what happens when I'm set free?" And then fifth, in this final fight scene with Jan Rog, who in his last desperate attempt to control her, he tells Carol to prove to him that she can defeat him without her powers, because he knows that there is no way, he does not stand a chance against her in the fullness of who she is and the fullness of the power that she truly has. But Carol, she knows better now, she was continuously lied to and manipulated by him, but now she knows who she is, and so she just goes and blasts him back with just one quick blow and says, "I have nothing to prove to you." So let's take a look at what lessons we can learn from Captain Marvel. Number 1, emotions are not weakness, and they can even be your greatest strength. In our culture, emotions have constantly been considered weakness, especially by men. Women are constantly being told that they're too emotional and therefore cannot be taken seriously. However, it's not just a problem for women. Men are so often told to man up whenever they cry or show any kind of decent human caring emotions. However, I think that it takes a strong man to be able to show vulnerability, to cry in front of others. Like, oof, like the people in my life, the men in my life that I have considered to be the strongest men I know are those that I've actually seen cry. Because there is true courage and strength in vulnerability, in empathizing and having compassion and caring about someone. Now, I've mostly had women in mind when creating this video because the main character is a woman, and let's be honest, women have to deal with this way more than men because not only are we told we're too emotional when we cry, but we're also told we're too emotional when we're angry, when we're passionate, even if we're handling it well. Whereas men, they can be angry and passionate and it's just praised blindly, even if they're not handling it well. But there's definitely application for men in this movie too around this theme. We see this when Coulson goes against orders and lets Fury go. Fury later discusses this event with Carol and says that Coulson was, making a decision based off of emotion rather than protocol. He was being human. And if you're someone who watches Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which you should because it's a really great show, we constantly see Coulson doing this kind of thing where he goes against rules, he goes against what seems logical at the time in order to do what he feels is the right thing to do. His deep care for others is one of his greatest strengths, and we constantly see this helping to win the day, helping to save lives because of his care for other people and making those emotional based decisions in order to do what is right. So, emotions are not always weakness, but they can actually be your greatest strength. Number 2, to become the best you, you must know who you are. Jan Rog tells Carol that he wants to help her become a better you. And honestly, as an INFJ and someone who feels that my purpose is to help people grow and become their best selves, I really resonated with that. But unfortunately, we find out that Jan doesn't really want to help her become her best her, but to instead help her to become the best her that he can control. He wants her to become the person that he wants her to be, someone that he can control and keep her power suppressed until they can use that. And everything that he tells her is to control her, from telling her she needs to control her emotions and her power and, not pursue her past. It's all to gain more power over her. Have you ever met a manipulator like that? Someone who twists the truth in order to gain power over you, to gain control so he can use you for his own personal gain. Ugh. Jan and the Supreme Intelligence tell her that she needs to forget about her past and who she was in order to become her best self, when that is the opposite of the truth. It made me so happy to see this as a theme in the movie because that is literally the very thing that my whole blog, this whole YouTube channel is based around. This idea that the more you know yourself, the more you can grow. A growing understanding of self is the key to personal growth. Because how can you accomplish much if you don't even know your strengths and weaknesses? How can you reach your goals if you don't know what works for you and what doesn't? How can you figure out your purpose in life if you don't even know who you are? And we see this in Captain Marvel. The moment she learns who she really is the moment she steps into her true power. She was lied to about her strengths and weaknesses, and she finally realizes the strength that she has had this whole time. And she says, I've been fighting with one hand tied behind my back, but what happens when I'm set free? My friend, what have you tied behind your back? What things have you been falsely viewing as weakness? Is it your emotions, being constantly told to man up, that men don't cry, that you're too emotional? Is it your introversion, being told to speak up, to get out more, to be more like an extrovert, to, that extroversion is the more desired personality? Is it your gender, being looked down on, having your feelings and your emotions dismissed as invalid? Or having your opinions respected way less just because you're a woman? But what if the very thing that you thought, or perhaps others have told you, was weakness is actually your greatest strength? My friend, it is time to untie that hand from behind your back and be set free. When I untied introversion from behind my back and learned more about who I am and stopped trying to be what other people said I should be, that's when I became my best self. That's when I became so much stronger, so much more successful, and have been able to help so many more people by being who I am, by recognizing my strengths and seeing them as strengths instead of weakness. You must know who you are in order to be your best self. Number 3, surround yourself with true friends who can remind you who you are. I love this scene when Carol tells Talos that she doesn't know who she is, but her friend Maria steps in and has this beautiful, powerful speech about who she knows her friend to be. And it strengthens Carol. I am so incredibly grateful for the friends that I've had in my life who. Sorry, this is the one that really gets to me. I'm so thankful for the friends who have reminded me who I am in those times when I've felt discouraged and doubted my own capabilities. We all need those people in our lives because we all go through those struggles. We all lose sight of who we are and the strengths that we possess. But to have that friend who can come in and say, this is who you are. This is who I know you to be. These are the strengths I see in you. We all need those friends. So find those trustworthy people who can understand you to some degree and to be able to tell you who you are when you have forgotten. We all need that person when we stray from the truth to remind us who we are and what we are capable of. So find yourself a trustworthy friend who can remind you who you are. So those are my 3 major takeaways from Captain Marvel. 1, emotions are not weakness, but they can in fact be your greatest strength. 2, to become your best self, you must know who you are. And 3, surround yourself with trustworthy friends who can remind you who you are. I would love to hear thoughts on the movie and what you've learned from it, and if any of this has resonated with you, so make sure to comment down below. And if you enjoyed this video, then make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for other videos like this. And until next time, higher, further, faster, baby.